Hey, thanks for joining me. As a marketing expert, one of the questions I get asked almost daily is, what should I use for content and where should I put the content? As far as the what should you use, we'll get into that in a different discussion. What we're talking about today is we're working under the assumption you have some great content, you don't know where to put it. And that can be a big thing because when we do a marketing campaign, we want to look for at least a 300% return on investment. That should be the minimum goal of any marketing campaign. And you always want to have a goal in mind. You don't just want to throw money out and go, this worked or didn't work based on gut feel. Ultimately, it works if you can get money in return for what you invested. We look for a minimum 300%. So when you put your marketing campaign together, no matter if you're spending, if you're doing it organically, what you're looking to do with it, make sure you're set to get that 300% minimum return on investment, whatever it is, to try and justify your campaign and make it worthwhile. If you're not, it's just a bad campaign. So that's a little bit about the goals for campaign. You always want to have a goal. Let's talk a little bit about where to put this great content that you have. One of the big things that I always tell business owners, especially small business owners, and I'm here in the southeast part of New Hampshire, we have a lot of small businesses, we're an industrious state. When I say small business, I basically mean you're not a corporation. There's one person who's making the decisions when it comes to the marketing, when it comes to the staffing, when it comes to the day in, day out, you're that person, or you want to be that person. I always tell people, if you want to know where to put your marketing, the simple answer is, where would you look for it? Most people who own a small business are taking a passion and turning it into something that they really love doing as a business. But it usually starts with something that you enjoy. Most small business owners don't hate the field they're in. It's usually something they did, loved, and said, you know, I could monetize this. Most of us are in that same situation. Me with videography, this is something I love doing. I'm fortunate enough to be able to do it, make a living doing it, but I love doing it. I would do it if I had to work somewhere else. I'd still dabble in videography. So think about that. At some point, you were probably a hobbyist in your field. You were probably a potential customer for what you're doing now for a business. Where would you find you? And that's kind of what you want to do when you start to set out your goals. If you're someone who would never in your life read a blog, why would you write an industry blog? If you are someone in that industry and you wouldn't look at that, chances are you wouldn't find people who want that there. Sometimes that's different. If we're offering a service, maybe you are offering a service that would be looked at by a different demographic than you. Something to take into consideration, but I would bet 99% of the time, as a small business owner, you're somebody who was in this field prior to owning a business in this field. Think about where you would look for you. If you're not someone who listens to podcasts ever, and you feel like that's probably most people who would be in your hobby circle, that's probably most people in your industry circle, and a podcast is not going to behoove you. For the most part, the one thing that we can all kind of do, the one thing that can kind of be the lifeblood for any business, are short form videos, long form videos, some text-based posting, and basically just having a presence. You're going to hear the rules about the 7-touch rule. In other words, a business needs to have 7 interactions with you before they'll make a purchase. You know, I think some of that's based in reality. I think what it really comes down to is, if you fulfill a need, you'll get business. If you don't fulfill a need, you won't. When there is not an immediate need, that's where that 7-touch rule comes in, where you kind of justify or create a need. And I'm not talking about tricking anybody. I'm not talking about lying. I'm not talking about misrepresenting what your product does. I'm saying there are things that people kind of put on the back burner for financial reasons, for time reasons, for logistical reasons. Creating the need just means bringing that already existing desire to the forefront. And a lot of times we talk about creating, people think that means like tricking someone into buying something. No, it's just kind of making it priority. And we do that through good marketing. We do that through going, here are the benefits of having this. Be it a product, be it a service, whatever it is, here are the benefits. Having that discussion on any platform is going to really help. But let's talk about my top 5 platforms to place your great content, what to put there, what not to put there, and the pros and cons of each. Let's get started. My number 5 social media platform for you to place your content is LinkedIn. This gets overlooked a lot, but LinkedIn has a great deep search engine. It also has tons of groups that can be industry specific and also regionally specific to what you do and where you do it. Some of the pros of LinkedIn. LinkedIn folks are on there for business. And that's a great thing. You're not having those awkward discussions where you're posting on your personal page and people start to skip it because it gets repetitive. LinkedIn is there for business. You can have conversations, you can post about business stuff, and people there understand that that's kind of what they're there for. One of the other pros of LinkedIn are the groups. You can get into industry-specific groups. This is going to help you to kind of present yourself as an industry expert. You can also get into groups for people seeking your service, people who are looking for what you offer, and then you'll be able to have access to them and present your information as well. This is a really nice kind of sidestep to marketing where you're not having to officially put content there, but can be part of discussions, which acts equally as effectively as any kind of paid marketing you're going to do. And one of the other great things about LinkedIn allows you to schedule posts up to 3 months out in advance. So you can go in on the 1st of July, you can schedule your posts for the month of July, and you can kind of set it and forget it. You post them out as you need them, you space them out as you need them, and then you can really just maintain following up on comments, being part of discussions, and not having to worry about forgetting. Things get busy because consistency is a huge part of marketing. You're going to hear me talk about that with every platform we talk about. Consistent posting beats any kind of quality of posting. You can have pretty good posts, but if you're consistent with it, you're going to keep and capture your audience. LinkedIn also has an interface very similar to Facebook. So the learning curve on LinkedIn is fairly straightforward. When you get in there, you're going to see a lot of things that look familiar as far as how to post, how to share, how to add photos and videos. Very similar interface to Facebook, but very much geared towards a business setting. So that can make it really easy to step in and use it. Now, some of the cons of LinkedIn. LinkedIn lacks what I would call scrollability. You find yourself sitting there at night, chances are you scroll Facebook, you might scroll Instagram, you might scroll Snapchat, you might scroll YouTube. Not as many folks are going to be scrolling LinkedIn because it's business stuff. And when we're off the clock, maybe that's not necessarily where we want to be. And when we're on the clock, we might not have a chance to really sit there and just scroll through article after article, especially when it doesn't apply to us or our industry. So the lack of scrollability is a big con for LinkedIn, in that you're going to really need to work to establish your network. You will need to individually grow that with like-minded people and then consistently post to those people. There's not a lot of casual traffic on LinkedIn who will find you. So that can be a downside, that it really will take some extra time initially to grow your network, to find your groups, to really get in your niche. And then from there, when you're presenting the consistent content, you'll see the growth. But finding it initially can be a little tougher than some other platforms. One of the other cons with LinkedIn is primarily a B2B platform, meaning business to business. So for someone like me whose services suit other businesses, LinkedIn is great because I'm talking with other business owners who could use my service. If you are someone who is a product-based kind of person, you make bandanas for dogs, awesome. Chances are, unless you're going to be looking for major distribution, LinkedIn isn't going to give you as many options because you're going to be dealing with other businesses. So if you're trying to sell direct to customer, LinkedIn can be tricky because it's primarily a business to business site. However, where you can use this is to kind of network. You can learn from people. You can also present yourself as a presence to people who might need your service, maybe not as their primary need, but in bigger quantities for specific events and things like that. So it's not a total loss if you're a B2C type business, but it can be slower going than a B2B where you're going to be talking directly with decision makers instead of someone who you may be selling to who then turns around and second hand is selling your product or service. The third con to LinkedIn, and the one that I absolutely hate the most, that I've dealt with and I hate the absolute most, LinkedIn can have a lot of ghost profiles. LinkedIn's one of those ones, everybody kind of sets it up. You see, oh, I guess you should set this up. And then we don't use it. Or we use it when we're looking for a job, but not when we're not looking for a job. Or we go on when we are starting a business, then we kind of let it fade and we don't post consistently. I always like to go in when I add somebody, look at them before I add them to my network, even if they suit what I want to be in my network, and look, see when their most recent post was, see when their most recent comment was, see how active they are. Do they have a profile picture? Are they somebody who is going to be active on there? Because otherwise you kind of get this false sense, you get lulled into, wow, I got 1,000 people in my LinkedIn network, when in reality, 20 of them are active and the other ones haven't touched that page in a year. Well, it doesn't do you any good, and it can become really frustrating. So one of the big cons, one of the things to look out for on LinkedIn, ghost profiles. Vet people as best you can. When you add them, send a message, hey, I'm on here, I wanted to talk to you about this. If you're not getting a response, and LinkedIn has that great Facebook feature where you can see if it's been read or not. If it's 2 weeks and it hasn't even been read, chances are that person's not on there, or at least not interested. If they are on there, that's no way to treat somebody. So be aware of that as well. It's one of the big downsides of LinkedIn, but a great medium, a good one that gets overlooked, and a good chance to really build a great professional network. If you're a B2B business, it's gold there. Definitely want to post there. Now the big question, what should I be posting on LinkedIn? Well, LinkedIn right now doesn't have the capability to handle shorts like some of the other mediums and platforms we're going to talk about, but LinkedIn is a great place for your long form videos. LinkedIn is a great place for text-based posts that don't run on too long. Photos are great if they're clean and they're quality. The big thing on LinkedIn, make your posts and keep your posts about business. The temptation is to get those cheap, the sexy metrics, the likes and stuff like that. Likes aren't money, and you can't pay bills with likes. So getting a lot of likes on a picture of your kids or your dogs, and you'll see it when you go on LinkedIn, you'll see it. There are a lot of folks who go, oh, I work so hard, but today's the day I get to spend it with this kid here. That's great. That's a nice sentiment. And those people might honestly believe that. That's not effective. It doesn't make me want to buy from you. And all it does is give you the sexy metrics. Because 500 likes, and you go, wow, people are really noticing what I'm doing. They're not. It's a kid, or it's a dog, or it's you, at the beach or something like that. Those are likable things. They're not necessarily purchasable things. So you want to avoid that, but you can put long form video, you can put your text, you can put your photos. The biggest thing is put your words, be involved, get into discussions, comment on things that tie into your business. That's the best thing you can post on LinkedIn. Even better than your videos, even better than your posts. Get involved, be part of the discussion, and build that network. My number 4 platform where you should be posting your content is Instagram. A lot of people might have thought this would be higher up in my top 5. Instagram is my number 4. Now, Instagram is a great home for your short form videos, for your long form videos. Instagram used to be about your photos as well. Instagram is making a strong push away from photos to the point where within the next 2 years, there's a thought that Instagram will not even allow photos. It'll be purely a video site, and a big push on that is going to be your short form videos, your reels and your stories, things like that on Instagram. So let's talk about the pros and cons of posting there, and also what you should be posting there. The biggest pro of Instagram. Instagram is one of the, if not the, most heavily scrolled apps. That's one of those ones people are just kind of mindlessly going through, and they're looking at stories, they're looking at reels. It's going to give you the casual traffic not offered by a site or an app like LinkedIn. You're going to have people just on Instagram, just to be on Instagram, looking and seeing what's there and seeing what interests them, piques their interest and catches their attention. One of the other big pros of Instagram is that it not only allows but rewards the short form video. So if you're someone who has quick, short videos that are industry specific, they position you as an industry expert, or things that even kind of promote your product, Instagram is going to reward people seeing that. If you put something interesting and people like it, it's going to make sure it keeps popping up. Instagram is owned by Facebook. They're in the same universe. So a lot of the algorithms and strategies that we'll talk about for those two are very similar, that if you're generating interest, Instagram wants to retain people. So if people are looking at something, they're stopping on it, they're giving it their time, they're commenting, then Instagram looks at that and goes, this must be interesting. I'm going to start putting it in front of other people. And that's how you really build that viral audience. That doesn't mean cheating. It doesn't mean putting up things that are explicit or doing things, again, we go back to the cats and kids. Those are going to get you looks and they're going to get you likes, and but it's not going to get you business. And we're talking about marketing. We're not talking about making friends or getting a lot of people to like our kids and dogs and stuff like that. So when you post your short form video, make it interesting. Make it something that's industry specific. Present information. Present something someone's going to be able to benefit from seeing. And you can do that in a fun way. You can do that in a creative way. You can do that in an innovative way. And that's kind of where a professional like me would provide those ideas if you don't have them. But bottom line, make your short form video something people are going to want to stop and look at. That's going to be able to generate that traffic and get people to your page. The other big thing with that though, make sure you're commenting and following up. When you present these great videos, you're going to see an abundance of comments, maybe more than you're used to. It's important to make the time in real time to follow up and generate that relationship. Instagram is not an instant purchase type site. It is a place where you can start to generate those relationships, and people will come back to your content. They subscribe, they want to see what you have to say. Eventually you convert that into a sale. The third big pro with Instagram is, like I said earlier, owned by Facebook, same type of algorithms, but you can also cross-post. Now, there's two schools of thought on cross-posting. I'm of both schools. Some people will say, I always cross-post, it's an easy step. You click a button and it shares to my Facebook, or I post on Facebook and it shares to my Instagram. That's easy because I want to put my stuff on both. That's awesome. The downside to cross-posting is it's like speaking two different languages to the same person. Those two apps, those two platforms have very different demographics. They have very different message presentation that works and that's appropriate. So cross-posting is good if you're talking about information. We are closed on Tuesday. That message can be delivered the same way to everybody. We are closed on Tuesday as we are closed on Tuesday. You can cross-post that because you're saving yourself the step of putting the exact same information that will be taken the same way to a second group of people. Where cross-posting doesn't work as well is your Facebook demographic may be very different than who you're trying to approach on Instagram. That's one of those things that knowing your target audience helps. So before you get into any marketing campaign, you need to kind of know who you're trying to talk to. If those two audiences are very different, cross-posting really isn't doing anything. You're going to get the benefit from one but not the other. You have to kind of assess that on your own. If cross-posting works for you, it's as easy as going into your settings on one or the other, linking those accounts, sharing those accounts. When you post to one, it pops up for the other. You do always have the option to not share. So if you're posting on Instagram, you can post that and not share to Facebook. So you can kind of do it on a case-by-case, post-by-post basis if you want. But cross-posting is one of the great shortcuts and features. It's also something just to be careful of. Don't get lazy with it. Don't abuse it. You don't want to post the wrong message to the wrong people. Let's talk about the cons of Instagram. The big thing is the casual traffic we mentioned. It's a great pro. It can also be one of the big cons. Casual traffic is just that. It's casual traffic. These aren't motivated buyers. These aren't people who are coming to Instagram to buy your product. They need to kind of be sold on it. And so there's plenty of numbers. There's also plenty of content. So that window for capturing that casual traffic can be very small. You're going to get the people coming through. A lot of them just aren't people who are looking to buy. And that kind of goes to demographic as well. Instagram is primarily an 18 to 34, to some degree even an 18 to 25 year old platform, and that's kind of be the primary bulk of their users. If that's not your target demographic, if you're selling homes, you may find that you can kind of get into a niche there, but you may find that the casual traffic is going to scroll by you. It can be outrun. What you need to do is just make sure you're investing in the correct hashtags, finding what's going to attract those people, the correct groups, finding people who are looking to buy a home, putting that content in front of them. But just throwing it on Instagram and hoping for the best without some sort of targeting, which is what we want to do on every platform, it's not going to do you any good. You're going to feel like you're marketing to the wind. You know, you're throwing content out there, you're not getting response on it. Well, you want to make sure you're not just looking at those millions of viewers and go, wow, everyone's seeing this. They're not. The algorithm is very specific, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but you want to get your content in front of the correct people. And Instagram, sometimes with their amount of casual traffic, can give us a false sense of security at best, and at worst, we're missing out on a lot of that without even realizing it. Another con of Instagram is short form video. Short form video is great, like we talked about. There are a lot of pros to that. The downside to that is that short form video is not always a great selling tool. Picture walking down the street and the difference between someone coming up and explaining a product to you and what it does and what it is and how they came to have it and that type of thing. You're going to be a little more invested in maybe wanting to buy that if you stick around long enough to listen to that. That's more like long form video. Short form video is someone scalping tickets in front of a venue that goes, I got 2 for $20, do you want them, yes or no? And you have to make a very quick decision. Now, if you're pre-qualified, if you know in your mind, I'm going to this venue, I want 2 tickets, I want to pay about this. When that question is asked, you're pre-qualified, yes, you can do that. That's short form video. If you don't have people who are pre-qualified, short form video probably isn't going to convert them. So you can use it in 2 different ways, a mix of using it for people who would be pre-qualified if you think they're going to be on that platform, but also kind of starting a fire a little bit. I'll give you an example. A lot of times on Reels on Facebook, they'll have clips from shows. They'll just put a little clip from a show, and if you watch it, you can kind of get sucked into it and you go, well, what's this show? Then in the comments, they have the link. I've probably watched 1,000 of those, and I always just kind of go, I don't care. I don't really care. I see it scrolling, I don't care. About a month ago, I was scrolling through and there was a scene from this show that's on now Max, HBO Max, called Banshee. Never heard of it in my life. The scene caught me right off the bat. It was probably, it's under 1 minute, so maybe a 45-second part of a scene. I watched it and went, this looks really cool. Like, what show is this? Saw the show, realized I had the streaming service to watch it, and I binge watched all 4 seasons of that in about a week and a half. So that was effective, even though I'd probably seen, like I said, 1,000 of those. That one caught my eye. You can use short form. You can sometimes close with it, but like I said, that was a 1 in 1,000 thing. So again, consistency. Maybe you're a 1 in 100 thing, but you still got to post 100 times to get that one. So if you're going to use short form, be careful of the double-edged sword of that, which is it can get overlooked really quickly, and it's not necessarily a buying video. It's more of a, get your attention video. And use it like that, and you'll be good. So the big question again here, what should you be posting on Instagram? Instagram is a great place for, like I said, the short form teaser videos. Your long form isn't going to go as well here because of the time constraints and the limits. They want to keep things moving, so that 60-second limit can really cut into longer form videos. Short form videos, reels, stories, putting things out there to kind of entice people to think about becoming a potential customer. Avoid trying to close on Instagram, try and entice. We also want to keep it professional on Instagram. We are trying to find potential customers. Instagram offers a ton of customizations. Stay away from heavy filters. Nobody wants to see you trying to sell them a home when you have a sparkly face or a dog, tongue hanging out. Like you want to stay away from loud or excessive music. And I know sometimes a lot of people don't like the sound of their own voice on camera. I clearly love mine because I've been talking now for about an hour about this stuff. Some people don't like the sound of their own voice on camera. They try and negate that by putting some music in and you want to present you. You want to present the best version of you. So if you wouldn't walk into a business meeting with a dog face blasting, loud 90s rap music, don't do it on your reels and your stories. Keep it as clean as you can. You can use filtering for lighting. If your lighting's not great, but try and avoid making it cartoony, trying to make it look a little too cute, a little too cool. You can drive away potential customers. If that's your business, if your business is to be silly or to be a content creator, you already know you can take those things and knock yourself out with them. So. My number 3 platform is Facebook. A lot of people maybe thought this would be a little higher. Facebook is my number 3. And Facebook is home sweet home for most of us. That is where most people can be found, is on Facebook. We contact friends there, we contact families there. We might be in some groups or find events or buy tickets through there, but for the most part, everyone's kind of there. So can we use that for business purposes? And the answer is kind of. The biggest pro for Facebook is everybody's there. Most businesses have a Facebook page. Most of the people you know in your life are going to be on Facebook. So accessibility to the most amount of people is Facebook's biggest pro. One of the other great things about Facebook, and we talked about this with LinkedIn, the Facebook Business Suite, if you have a business page, allows you to schedule your posts out, I believe, as far as you want. I've never run into an end date on Facebook. LinkedIn is 3 months. Facebook, I believe you can just schedule them out. If I'm wrong on that, shoot me a message and correct me, but I believe you can schedule them out until you just feel like not scheduling them out. This can be great, again, for month to month or even quarterly marketing if you really have that plan in place. You go into the business suite, you can schedule your posts out. I'm talking days, I'm talking times. There's plenty of research out there that can tell you best days and times, industry specific, that your posts can get seen. So you go in, you do that research, you can schedule your month out, have a really effective marketing plan, and forget about it. Obviously, the maintenance is being in the comments, being in the discussions when people ask questions, responding to messages. But for the most part, as far as the remembering to post part, it's just there. And that's a really great way to build consistency, which is the key to any marketing. Consistent content, consistent presence. And Facebook Scheduler allows you to do that in the business suite. So that's a great pro of Facebook. Another great feature of Facebook are the Facebook groups. Now this can work 2 ways for you. Business specific groups, again, if you're a B2B, this can really help you to find like-minded people who you might be able to present your product to and sell. The other part of that are just the general groups, and those sometimes can be a little trickier to get into. Some won't allow you to get into a private group with a business page. You need to go into your personal profile. That can sometimes confuse people. You're tagging your page, and if it's not in the group, you'll see it grayed out, and that can be trickier. But get into those groups and have discussions. And when I say get into those groups, those B2C groups where if you're the B, so if you are someone who does videography for weddings, rather than being a videographer for weddings group, which is also, I would recommend that from the networking perspective, find wedding groups, find bride-to-be groups, find people who are getting married in the next year, other services that might tie in that would allow you to get in there. Tread lightly. Make sure you read the group rules. Some of them don't allow promotion, so you got to kind of hang back, and your promotion can come through joining the discussion. Asking questions is always a great way to kind of low-key promote your business without really promoting your business. So if you're in a group, you can say, hey guys, I'm in here because I'm curious about what people want for picture packages. I offer this and this, but I'm always interested to know what new brides and brides-to-be, what the current trends are, and then sit back. Let people comment, be part of the discussion. I know you're gonna wanna do it. Resist the temptation to post that tag and tag your business. Go, well, you wanna find out more. It's gonna feel great that first time someone comments. Respond, be calm, and do it like you would if you were having a conversation. If someone came up to you and said, hey, I'm curious about what you offer, and you said, well, I'd like to hear about what you like, you wouldn't then immediately go, and here, and try and get money from them. Take your time. Again, this goes back to more of those 7 interaction things. Answer questions, have the discussion, feel people out. They will now look at you as someone who, number one, is an industry expert. Asking questions doesn't make them, it doesn't diminish your value as an industry expert in their eyes. If anything, asking those questions is it allows them to go, this is somebody who's going to fulfill my needs. And when we talk about marketing, we're talking about needs. We're talking about need fulfillment. You can say it, you can say it, you can say it. Fulfilling a need. What better way to illustrate that you'll do that than literally saying, what do you want, what do you need, and then paying attention to that. One way to do that, again, going back to the wedding video, wedding photographer example, is you say, hey, anyone who's getting married in 2023, 2024, if you're having a fall wedding, what are you hoping for in the background? What are you looking for in your photograph? You might get answers like foliage, you might get answers like pumpkins, you might get themed things or horror things or cobwebs or whatever it may be, mountain views. Take that information, and rather than hard sell with it, you can turn that around in the discussion with real potential customers and go, great, so if I were to offer something like this, maybe you have a picture of a mountain view that you've done. If you have to use stock, make sure you say, here's something I found online. Would something like this be along the lines of what you want? With this type of lighting, this type of scenario? If you use something that's not yours credited, no one's going to be offended by that because you're asking. So if you're saying, oh, I never thought to do this type of photo, do you mean this? People get that it's not yours, but say that. Then you start getting what we all want in business. You get yes. Yes, that's what I would like. Okay, great. Yes, that's what I'd like that, but I'd like it to be, more sunset. Great. So fine tune. So you mean like this? You're getting yeses. Yes, I'd love that. Love that. Awesome. Leave the discussion alone. All you have to say at the end is, hey, I'm really loving these ideas. This is great. Those of you that helped me out, that contributed, if you end up needing a package, I'd love to offer you a 5%, 10%, 25% discount on your package just for helping me out. Here's my information. Thank you. Good night. It's an easy sell. It's not a hard sell. It lays the information out, but now you've had contact. Not only have you had contact, you've already listened. You've already had basically that initial consultation by listening to their needs. Take that, sit back, and let it come to you. Don't force the issue in the conversation. So Facebook groups are a really great way to get involved. Use them wisely. You got off on a little bit of a thing there, but I think it's good information. It's useful. So the cons of Facebook. Con number one is, we kind of talked about it in the beginning, Facebook is primarily a family and friends platform. It's a place people go to contact their old classmates, to see their friends, to post their hysterical memes that are never as funny as they think they are. It's a chance to people to socialize. It's the social network. So a lot of times those business conversations aren't going to be as welcome. Be careful of where you have them. We just talked about Facebook groups and business groups. Avoid, and the temptation when we have a startup or a small business is to go, well, my family and friends are gonna be my biggest fans, and we post and we get likes and shares and we feel like everyone's seeing our stuff. But how many of those people fit in our demographic? For something like me, where I'm making commercial videos, I know that my mother would be a big supporter of mine and probably like everything I do. Well, is she gonna buy a commercial video from me? Probably not. So I'm getting kind of a false sense of security there, a false sense of success that, wow, I got this like on my video. Right, from someone who really loves what I'm doing, but they're not gonna buy a commercial package from me. Be careful on Facebook of mixing and matching. It's great to put your business up. It's great maybe once in a while to put a link to your business page or remind people what you're doing, because you never know who in your network, friends of friends, is going to be looking. It's even okay to put that post. Going back to my wedding videography, my wedding photographer example, if it's April or so, and those June weddings are coming up. If it's January, those June weddings are coming up. Putting a post up, go, hey guys, just a reminder that I'm doing this now. Because a lot of times small business has meant a career change for us, and people still think you work for the insurance company or whatever. Hey guys, just a reminder, I'm doing this now. If you have a spring wedding, I'd love to talk to you. And friends and family, I'm offering a discount, and here's what I do. Separate discussion, I'm always wary of competing with price. Your price should be your price. But positioning that as a friends and family thing, not a huge deal, but try and avoid marketing with price. I will, cut every price in half. You're devaluing your product. Different discussion. I don't want to get into a whole thing, but you understand what I'm saying. So that's one of the downsides, is that a lot of people aren't there for business, and you constantly hammering business can get a little old. People tend to step back from that after a while. So be careful of that. Make sure that you're putting it in the appropriate places. There's plenty of groups where you can talk business. If you're doing it on your personal page, few and far between, and also don't get fooled by the metrics. Don't get fooled by the likes. Don't get fooled by the false sense of security that everyone's seeing your stuff when it's just people, it's people in the next room who live with you. My second biggest con for Facebook use is Facebook itself. Facebook has realized how many people are using Facebook. Facebook has also realized that people now have gone, I can potentially reach potential customers. And so they have made it very tough to organically promote your business. The big push is Facebook ads. They're fairly affordable. I have nothing against them. I've had okay success with them as far as spreading word. Not a lot of conversions. They're good for events I've done that require ticketing. They've been very effective. But Facebook definitely wants you to pay for their space. They do not want to make it easy for you to just organically put your stuff and have a lot of people see it and you monetize on it, and they don't. So they make it very tough through their algorithm to put your stuff out there and get it seen. So be aware of that. It's very easy. If you have a business page, you can go in and look at the actual engagement percentage. A lot of times you'll be very surprised that organically you're putting a post up, you have 1,000 people on your page, and Facebook is showing that to 10 people. And that's the way their algorithm works. And just a very brief overview, and it changes constantly. You can always look it up and see what it's doing, but I'll give you kind of the broad overview of Facebook's algorithm. Say my business page, Olive Tree Films. Say we have 1,000 people on that page. I've reached out to people, I've shared, I've maybe done some paid work, I've tried to get people invested in my page. I've got 1,000 people on my page, and I am posting the most boring, uneventful stuff ever. Just people don't want to see it. What happens is when you first create that, you get 1,000. If you've ever noticed this, when you like a page, you add a friend. What's the first? You are bombarded with their stuff. You add a new friend, all you get is their timeline. You like a new business, all you get are their posts. That's Facebook's way of kind of going, okay, do you really like this stuff? Do you really want to see this stuff? If you're engaged right off the bat, that's his exact, yeah. Facebook goes, okay, he likes this stuff, or they like this stuff. We'll give them more of it. What eventually happens, and we're talking about one person, but picture those 1,000 people, is if I go, I liked that hotel because I was going there for the weekend. I don't really care. I'm not going back. I already went. I didn't bother to unlike them, but I'm not going to go there again anytime soon. So I'm just kind of scrolling there, so I don't care. Yeah, maybe the first couple weeks ago, I remember that. I remember seeing that. And after a while, it's white noise in the background. You're just scrolling past it. Facebook is aware of that. What Facebook starts to do after a while goes, okay, they don't care to see this hotel. We were showing it twice a week or 3 times a day. Let's cut that back to once a week. You're still going, don't care. And Facebook goes, all right, well, let's cut that back to once a month. We're showing you their stuff. Don't care. Facebook finally goes, okay, they don't want to see this anymore. If they want it, they will seek it out. Facebook is trying to keep you on Facebook as long as possible. How do you do that? Showing you things you like, not showing you things that you once liked and you don't like anymore. And yes, it's that smart that it can figure that out. Now picture that we're talking about 1,000 people. 1,000 people like your brand new page. And when are they seeing it? Twice a day. And you're going, oh my God, these numbers are crazy. I'm saying all these people are seeing it. The engagement percentage is going down. Your reach is a tricky number, because you look at the reach and go, reach was 900 people. But who are they really showing it to? You go and look at that number. That can sometimes be as low as 1%. So out of 1,000, you could literally have 10 people who are showing your post, because these other people are in that habit of scrolling by it. They would have to really dive down to see it or seek it out themselves. So don't be fooled by that. You really want to look at that. Facebook has monetized that ad space, and they're really reluctant to let it go. So you have to be careful of getting tricked into, well, I feel like I'm reaching a lot of people, but I'm not seeing the return. It could just be that you're not. You want to get into your analytics on your business page and really learn how to understand who's actually seeing your posts. And now the big question, of course, with Facebook, what should I be putting there? Facebook is great for your long form videos. It is great for your short form videos as far as they have stories and they have reels now. Facebook is also the one place you can kind of get away with if you have some text-based stuff. People are used to that on Facebook. I think people are less wanting to see that, but if your demographic is of a certain age, I think that you can still get away with a short text-based post. If you're going to do text-based, here's what I recommend. Put something with it. Put a photo with it, put a video with it, something that kind of supplements just the writing. and avoid the crazy emojis. There's so many posts, and it's black hearts, and it's candy canes, and it's smileys, and it's ha. Just write it. You just have to write it. You don't want, Facebook is not a place where a lot of teenagers are. You don't need to pepper what you write with a bunch of crazy emojis and wacky stuff and so on. Nobody there is going to want to see that. And it comes off as a little childish, a little amateurish for Facebook. So if you want to do writing, keep it short. I always tell people you never want to see more. Very few people are going to click when you're reading that post and go, see more. Most people won't. It sounds lazy, but most people, you got to really lock somebody in for them to want to see more. Keep it short, keep it readable, put a picture, draw people in. But long form videos, short form videos, that is the way that Facebook is going. They want to kind of be equal to Instagram for a different demographic. So your long forms will hold up, whereas you can't use that on Instagram. But also, take advantage of Reels and Stories. It's a great place to be as well. All right, my number 2 platform to place your social media marketing is actually probably my favorite. I don't think it's the most effective, which is why I have it at 2, but I think it's going to be number 1 soon, and it's my favorite, and that is YouTube. YouTube is so many cool things that we may not realize. The biggest thing is it's a targeted search engine. You think about YouTube. YouTube is a targeted search engine. When we go to YouTube, usually we're not just scrolling, we're not just looking. We're going there looking for something. Show me how to change the headlight on a 2009 Subaru. That's what I had to do recently. Show me how to do this. How do I do this? What is this? What does this look like? We're seeking information, literally using keywords and drilling down to what we want. So you can be on there with long form video, short form video, and answering those questions, again, positioning yourself as an industry expert. One of the things about YouTube that not a lot of folks realize, though, you can post like you would on Facebook. You can post on your YouTube page. You can share your short form and your long form. You can comment. You can run polls. Literally kind of the best of all the social media platforms YouTube offers. Plus, they have a huge audience. It's one of those places. Not everyone's on Instagram. Not everyone's on Snapchat. Most people are on Facebook. YouTube is one of those ones, even if people don't subscribe, even if they don't, they're there, they've used it, we all use it. So having a presence there is huge. And right now it's still kind of flying under the radar. A lot of people don't think about that as a place to put social media marketing because they don't think about people going there to look for solutions, but that's absolutely what they go there for. Most people are going to YouTube with a specific question needing answers, wanting to see a visual of what that is. Use the shorts, use the long form. We've talked about both of those. YouTube is a great platform, and right now you can still kind of get it while it's hot because they haven't cranked their prices up like Facebook has. One of the big pros right now about YouTube are the YouTube Shorts. They've introduced this now to kind of match up with Reels on Instagram, with Stories on Facebook, with a Snapchat short form video. YouTube allows for shorts now. You can post your short form video there. The great thing about that is YouTube already is conducive to your long form video. You can literally use that short form to get to your long form on the same platform. So no more posting a short form on Instagram going, click here to go to my website. People don't like to be redirected usually. When you can post a short on YouTube that links to a longer video explaining on YouTube, similar to what we're going to do with this one. This will be cut into a ton of shorts that all lead people back to this main video on YouTube without leaving the platform. That is a great way to keep and retain people because they're staying in the same site, they're staying in the same vein. So use those shorts. It's a great pro of YouTube that they've gotten into. They still have the long form, but now you can use the YouTube shorts similar to a reel. It is a great way to draw people in. And of course, one of the other great pros of YouTube is the long form video. The classic long form video where you're able to really deep dive, to get into a little more detail, to explain, to take the time to edit if you need to use graphics to make your video look awesome and professional and position you as that industry expert. When people watch, they go, oh wow, you can be helpful, you can be informative, but you can also work in links, you can also work in collaborations. You can sell in those long form videos, and you can sell effectively in those long form videos because if someone's watching it, chances are they need a solution. So in our wedding photographer example, if we're making a long form video that says, here's 10 great venues that you might not have thought about as backdrops for your wedding pictures. I'm a bride-to-be, wait, I know it's a horrifying thought, but I'm a bride-to-be, and I'm going in and I'm searching, what are 10 great, wedding photography backdrops? And your article is there, your long form video is there, great. Well, now I'm going in, I'm watching that because I'm wanting to learn, but I can also be sold on who is doing this. Who is showing me this? Am I local to them? By doing that, you are able to get people who already are qualified, who already want that service, who are now watching your content, and you can pepper it with those calls to action to get people to buy. So long form video on YouTube is a great way to not only just kind of be out there and be a presence, to convert people and get some sales. And what are some of the cons of YouTube? It is one of my, like I said, I think it's probably my favorite platform. It does have some downsides. One of the biggest downside is you can gain a ton of people on YouTube. You can also turn a ton of people off just as quickly. How? Bad content. Bad content in a long form video is just punishing somebody. And I'll give you an example. I worked in stand-up comedy for over a decade, and I would see comics, and when people see a bad comedian, it's visceral. When they see someone not doing well, they would actually get angry at them. And there's two kinds of bad comedians. There's a comedian who's trying and you're going, okay, I can respect that. And then there's a comedian who's just kind of giving and you just don't like it. And I always use this analogy in comedy, and it applies to YouTube as far as how quickly you can lose somebody. Picture someone coming up to you and just tapping you in the nose like that. Right? That's pretty irritating. And at first you might even kind of go, oh, that's odd. Let me see where this is going. But after a few taps, you go, I don't care for that. Please stop. A good comedian or a good video has variety and can jump off of that. So even if you don't like that, okay, I'll do this. I'll rub your shoulder. You go, well, I do like that. A bad comedian or a bad video just keeps doing this going, I have nothing else. This is all I know how to do. I can only do this. When you're watching someone on stage, it's telling the same type of joke or telling the same story, and you're going, I don't want this. And they go, that's all I got. When it's our long form video, it's the same thing. When we're showing somebody that's bad content, or it's boring, or it's slow, or the camera works poor, and they're going, I don't really like this, and you go, that's what I got. Sorry, here's it. After a while, you are going to lose them. And not only are you losing, they're probably turned off. And I have certain, YouTube channels or YouTubers, even when I need the information, when I see their videos pop up, because I look at a lot of videography, tips and tricks and techniques and how do I work around this and how do I do that. And there are certain YouTubers now, when I see them pop up with the answer, I go, I'd rather not know. I'd rather find it elsewhere. Conversely, there are some great, Who is Matt Johnson is one of my favorite YouTubers, because I know whatever my question is. If he has an answer, I can watch that video, I will get the answer. He puts it in a way that makes sense to me, and that's my go-to. So now, it's the exact, when I see that, I will go to that, even if maybe it's not the exact question I asked. If it's close, I'll go there and I can get it from it. So don't put bad content. I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but don't put bad content. If you don't know what bad content is, if you look at it and you think it's boring, it's boring. If you're the person who made it and you're not enjoying it, it's boring. Okay, show it to people on a smaller scale. Hey, is this interesting? Ask those kind of questions. Ask me. Hit me up and show me. I'll tell you if it's boring or not. So. And now the big question, what should I be posting on YouTube? The great answer there is a little bit of everything. You can comment, which gives you the chance to be text-based. You can comment on other people's stuff. You can answer comments on your own stuff. Use shorts. That's a great way. People will scroll those. They will see it. And it leads to bigger watches. And you can also use your long form. So YouTube is kind of the best of both worlds. You can post, you can comment, you can put short form, you can put long form. It really offers you the option to do all of those with a gigantic audience. So really no way to go wrong there. Just make sure as you use that combination, use it wisely, put out good content. If you have questions about content, get in touch with me. Hey, is this a good idea? I'm not gonna hard sell you. I'm gonna tell you yes it is or no it isn't. I'll tell you why. And that'll be that, okay? And my number one social media platform, be a bit of a surprise to some of you, is Google. And Google, again, kind of flies under the radar. This is my number one, more so than YouTube, because literally everybody is on it. Everybody is using it. Google accounts for more than 85% of mobile searches online. It accounts for 95% of desktop searches. When people need information, they need answers, this is where they go. So if you have the answer, it only makes sense for you to be there. So what's the major pro of Google? Well, other than it's everywhere and everyone's there, it does allow for some customization. Google does allow for posting now. If you have a Google business listing, you can post, you can put images, you can put videos, you can comment on reviews, you can get those conversations going in the same way you would on other social media platforms. Use that, be the answer to the question. I'm not talking about, you see the sponsored ads and the paid ads, you can pay for space on Google and that's your call. I don't recommend paying for something where people are going to come there anywhere. I recommend having the answer when they get there to to me that's bigger than any kind of money you're going to spend. But I mean, that's the biggest pro to Google, is it lets you do a lot of the stuff these other social media apps let you do, but you're getting people there looking for those answers. And the biggest con to Google, people don't think of it as a social media platform. They think of it when they need answers, they go there, which can be a little tough to get discussions going and things like that. But when you do, you can really become the industry expert, because people aren't going to look for a second person in that business if they're getting the answers for one person, because they're going to Google for answers. Most people don't go to Google to have a conversation, to meet new friends, to do that. They're going there for answers. Providing those answers, or providing access to those answers in a quick and timely fashion, helps. So you can use Google, and this gets into our next thing. What should I be posting on Google? We can get into that without even a segue. Anything that answers questions, anything that positions you as someone who has the answers and the solution to a problem. And so when people do come there, they find you. You can be generating those conversations through posts. If you're putting posts that show, a marketing minute, an industry aside, something that's going to help people, when they search, Google will see more content, more answers, and present you higher up. There are things like SEO that tie into it, and Google's algorithm and whatnot. For the most part, their algorithm is fairly straightforward, and that goes back to SEO. And if you have an IT person, they can probably help you through SEO. A ton of articles online about it. And you message me and I'll point you in the right direction. Right now, and SEO, if you're not familiar with that, is search engine optimization, meaning when I search for something, how relevant are the results to bring me to the top? Okay, and that SEO is generated a lot by keywords, by meta tags, by things like that. There are sites now you can literally go in and go, I'm this kind of business, and be very specific, and it will generate those tags for you. It will generate your SEO tags. So very straightforward way to do it. Google is my #1 platform for your social media. So those 5 great platforms, use them in combination. I've told you the hows, I've told you the pros, the cons, I've told you what to post there. There's no reason for you to not have a great social media marketing campaign. If you have questions, go ahead and get in touch with me. Again, it's not a hard sell. I'd be happy to have that discussion with you, because it lets me know someone's watching and listening. It allows me to start that discussion on my end for my marketing purposes. And of course, if you want a quality video package, we serve all of New England. Be happy to talk to you to get a quote. It's a low pressure situation. I can tell you what I can do. I can tell you what I can't. So I can show you my work, and we kind of go from there. If you love it, great, let's work together. If not, at least you're learning, I'm learning, and we can both build and get better. And that's really what it's all about for small businesses. So I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you learned something. I look forward to speaking with you soon.